elegant and sophisticated fragrances for women. So you want to be classy, you want to smell classy. What kind of fragrances should you use for that? I have a small list, and as always, all the fragrances that I mentioned will be available in the Amazon associate links down in the description below. Now, I'm going to start with a pretty modern option and a pretty popular option, but still a very effective option as well, which is Light Blue from Dolce & Gabbana. It's always going to work. No matter who you are, how you wear this, it's always going to work. So the thing about Light Blue is that it's just a very simple, refreshing, and effective fragrance. It's kind of inspired off of the Italian Riviera. It has some citrus notes, some green apple, kind of breezy, clean type of smell. Very much like you're, standing on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean, sort of thing. It is a lighter fragrance. It doesn't have great longevity, but the smell alone is extremely attractive, extremely elegant, classy, just nice overall. No one dislikes this. I have never come across anyone who dislikes this, except for the low longevity. That's kind of like the main qualm people have with it. But the smell alone is really, really nice. Now there are different versions of Light Blue. Like this specifically is Eau Intense, which is a little bit more intense than the, typical version. But pretty much any version is going to be really good, especially if you like citrus notes and in general just clean smelling fragrances. So again, natural, subtle, feminine, classy. It has all the bonuses you could want from a fragrance like this. It's especially good for summer as well, once the weather starts heating up. Now, if you want something more classic, maybe a bit heavier, more off the beaten path, then I would say this very classic option, Youth Dew from Estee Lauder. This is actually a 1950s fragrance. It was specifically invented to be an affordable, luxurious fragrance. And it was a huge hit in the 1950s and beyond for quite a while, actually. This is, again, more of a heavy option for those who want something a little bit more intense, but still elegant, nothing crazy. This is a spicy, musky, vanilla type of fragrance. It is pretty strong. You don't need to use too much to get its effect because, again, it's pretty intense. Great longevity, 8 hours minimum, probably more like 10 hours. Dries down to a nice kind of vanilla powderiness while still maintaining a certain muskiness about it. So again, it kind of hits those boxes for those who want something more intense, a little heavier, a little spicier, that sort of thing. It also has some very nice amber notes, some balsamic notes, and some florals like roses and things like that. It is an eau de parfum, so high concentration, it's going to last a long time, great projection, again, all that good stuff. And as a general rule, it is pretty affordable. I got this bottle for $30. I think it's more like $40 by now, but still pretty affordable for what you get, because even this bottle, which is not too big, it's going to last you a really long time just because it's so potent. Now, if you want something really subtle, maybe you're looking for, again, more of a subdued elegance, more natural smelling, then I would say Eau de Quartier, Eau de Toilette here. So this is primarily a violet scent. Whenever I smell it, I feel that it smells very, very clean. Kind of like, besides the violet, it's kind of just like dewy. Kind of like, I don't know, after you clean your face, you put splash some cold water on your face and you just feel dewy and clean and things like that. That's what this reminds me of, at least personally. But yeah, it just has that very clean, soft, subtle type of approach to it. This is not a very strong or long-lasting fragrance because it is designed to be more subtle in that way. Longevity is for like 4 hours, so not great, maybe even 3 hours, but the smell alone is very, very attractive. It has that kind of gentle, feminine smell to it. Again, very clean, soft, floral. So if you're into that sort of thing, this is gonna do it. Again, the main qualm is the poor longevity, but you can always reapply it, of course. Now, moving on, I do have to mention yet another classic, which is number 5. I do mention this because this has, for more than 100 years, been the staple fragrance of elegance for women. It's also the best-selling fragrance for women of all time, and it currently still is, but this is basically a floral aldehyde fragrance. The aldehydes give it a certain airiness, a certain crispness. The florals come in, obviously, and give it a little bit of sweetness and depth, but it also has some very interesting base notes. It has some amber, wood notes, oak moss, musk, things like that. There's some civet as well. I personally love the base notes in this. I think it gives it an extra kind of oomph, I guess, some extra complexity in addition to its floral notes. Because when you first put it on, you get the florals, but then after about 30 minutes to an hour, you really get those base notes, which are super attractive, warm, seductive, yet still elegant, you know, not too crazy. But yeah, this is, again, the staple of elegance. Some people aren't a big fan of it for one reason or another, but most people really enjoy the smell. Now, the last one I do have to mention is Red Door by Elizabeth Arden. This is one of my favorite kind of daytime, casual, yet elegant type of fragrances. So this is all florals. It has a huge list of florals, like 20 different ones, plus a honey note for an additional sweetness. But this is a very pleasant, very elegant, and simple type of fragrance. It also has a certain powderiness, which is very attractive. Now, it pretty much has every type of floral you could think of, from lily to rose to violet, you know, pretty much everything. And at the same time, it isn't too crazy sweet, because sometimes when they mix too many florals, it becomes a little too synthetic smelling, a little too sweet. I would say this is very natural smelling. Very much like you're walking through a garden during the spring, you know, all the flowers are blossoming, that sort of thing. So very natural, which at least I like, and this is a very popular fragrance, so many people like how it smells, obviously. But the longevity is actually much, much stronger than you would expect for this type of fragrance, because often pure floral fragrances don't last that long, but this does. This lasts probably 6 to 7 hours, maybe even 8, so very actually potent for this type of fragrance. And again, I would say it's more of a daytime type of fragrance, just going out, getting groceries, going to work, while still maintaining a certain elegance to it, a certain femininity that is very attractive, very collected, very classic all around. So overall, those are pretty much my top choices for elegant and sophisticated women's fragrances. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.